All right, we're live. We are on early tonight just because I just got home. Service call after work. A guy had called me during the day saying his snowblower was acting up. Fairly new, 3-year-old snowblower, Craftsman with the LCT engine. Basically said when he went to put the auger on, the thing would die. So the first thing I think of, hey, Drifty, how you doing, brother? First thing I think of when you put the auger on and it dies is either you have ice in the housing causing the fan to stick. That'll cause the belt to stick and shut off the engine. Or he has something wrong with the belt or something like that. Most of the time it's ice. Ice builds up inside. There's a drain hole inside most baskets of snow throwers right in the middle, in the back. But the problem is if you keep it in a garage that's the same temperature as outside, it's not going to melt and rip out. Or if it is a little bit warmer, starts to melt, then it freezes up again. That ice will cause the fan to freeze. And when it freezes, most time, if you have a strong enough engine, you'll hit the belt on and it'll just melt the belt. Hey, James, how you doing, pal? And you'll melt the belt. So I was hoping it was something stupid. So I drove up. He's about maybe 8 miles away. Cold. It was a cold day today. And anyway, his whole driveway, he's got about a quarter mile or so. And full of, thick ice, snow, whatever. My little one-wheel drive S10 made it. So anyway, James, for you, toast. Here's my coffee. I just stopped and got my coffee. And my favorite, Hostess cherry pie. Love my Hostess cherry pie. I know it's full of whatever chemicals, but I like it. Anyway, so I get there, and his wife let me in the garage, and, nice place, beautiful place. And things in nice shape, So first thing I do, I look, and I see, and there's a big blob of ice where the fan is. And I figure, this is a simple job, So I chip out all the ice and everything, free it up, and I can move the fan. I said, okay, it's free. And I go to start it, and he said, every time he would, he said it ran fine. Well, didn't run fine for me. He said he put fresh gas in it and all that. And you'd prime it, you'd start it, it would stall out after about, 30 seconds. You hit the primer, it would keep running for like another 30 seconds or so. So I knew there was a problem. I figured maybe some old fuel in the bowl, no big deal. So trying to get to the drain or whatever on these newer things, forget it. They put 1,000 heat shields and all kinds of shield. I think it's called service technician can't work on it shield. That's what it should be called, because the way they are, you have to take half the machine apart just to get to the carburetor. Anyway, flip it up on end. I'm able to see the screws, just could barely get to them. I got to them, drained out, I don't know, maybe 6 or 8 ounces of what was supposedly fuel. It didn't look like fuel. Drained out till it came out clear and smelled like fuel. Put it back down, same thing happening. So obviously there's old fuel in there. The jets are clogged, all that stuff. So I ended up packing it up in the old S10 and brought her home. On the way home, got my coffee and my fruit pie. So I'm good to go. But anyway, snowblower tips. This is another one, and I didn't want to say it because it would be too funny. But guess what kind of plug it had? Anybody? What kind of plug do you think this thing had? My favorite. What's my favorite plug? The torch. Anyway, but it was running. It ran fine. So I said, you know what? At this point, I may put an NGK in it for him just so it doesn't crap out in the future. But I just don't like the torch plugs. It seems like they're standard equipment on these Honda engines. So anyway, I'll probably fix that. But another thing that people don't realize about these snow throwers is the tension on the rubber disc. I talked to you guys about this about a week or so ago, where a customer brought me one where the rubber drive disc was disintegrated and the metal that was on the side of it wore into the aluminum drive disc that acts as the pulley on the engine. Well, this one here didn't get that far. It's only 3 years old, but the tension, you probably pulled the handle with your left hand a 1/4 inch and you were already on spring. So I was like, so you had probably 2 inches of spring pressure, too much. I tell everybody, pull it down so that about a 1/2 inch from the bottom, you get a 1/2 inch of spring tension. That's all they recommend, about a 1/2 inch of spring tension. And that's all you need. As long as the rubber's contacting and you got a little bit of spring pressure, it's not going anywhere. These people, I don't know if it's Home Depot kids or whoever putting these things together, but yeah, you talk about freezing cold. It was, I think, 12 or 13 degrees at this guy's house, right in the middle of the woods where he lives. And it was cold. And I forgot to bring my kneeling pad, so I'm kneeling on ice. And I was like, ooh, that's good. So anyway, he thought it might be a quick and dirty carb clean. I said, with these Honda engines, there's no such thing as a quick and dirty carb clean. they put too many guards and sheet metal, whatchamacallits, in the way. So you have to take half the machine apart to get to it. So I'm off this Friday, so I'll use that day and I'll fix it and, get him back. He'll be happy. It's a nice thrower. It's in nice shape. They call it Easy Steer. It's got the 2 disconnecting axles and stuff like that with the cogs on it. Nice little machine. The chutes on these newer machines, I don't know if you guys noticed, this chute was like 3 feet tall, huge. They say it's supposed to increase velocity so you throw further. And I was like, I don't know, but this thing was huge. Anyway, it doesn't fit in the back of my S10, so I had it like hanging out on the tailgate with the strapping it. And man, was I cautious going home, because the thing you don't need is dumping a snowblower and back you when someone's right behind you. So anyway, cheers again. Let me take a sip. I think James said it best yesterday. I'll drive 100 miles for a cup of coffee. You're right, James. I will drive 100 if it's a good cup of coffee. Crap. It's funny. I get coffee down the street from your mobile gas station. They have, what's it, Green Mountain? Yeah, Green Mountain. Good coffee, though. $1 cup, any size, is a 24-ounce cup. The wife and one of my daughters out getting their haircut, so I don't know what time they're coming home to make dinner or anything. So I figured, why not? I haven't eaten in about 6 hours. So, hey, have something to eat. You got 4 S10s. Mine's a 2000. It's got 160,000 miles on it. It's 20 years old. I drive about 9,000 miles a year, not that far, but no options on it. Automatic, 4-cylinder, AC. That's it. Crank up windows. My kids always freak out, like, how do you take the windows down? Because they're crank ups. And I'll be honest with you guys, I was looking at brand new trucks today, just for the heck of it, online. Forget the price. I mean, it's ridiculous. It's like a mortgage. But anyway, a stripper truck with roll up windows. $32,000, down from $37,000. I was like, it's a stripper. Vinyl carpet. They charge you more for the vinyl carpet. It's a stripper. I don't know. Anyway, probably buy something used. Like James was saying, you never buy anything new. You buy it used. It's half the price, But I like my little S10. And then, okay, good years. Yep, the newer style like mine. But now even these Canyons and Colorados, these newer pickups they have that are supposedly taken over for the S10s, they're $35,000 too. Ridiculous. Crazy. My truck out the door, 2000, was 11 grand. Thank you, So I don't know. Anyway, snow thrower tips. Let's talk about snow throwers. The Chonda engines, like I said, if there's a torch plug, just get rid of it. BPR6ES, put those in there. Make sure you do the tensioning on the rubber, which is important. What else? Adjusting speeds. One thing I found on MTD throwers, they've got a cheap plastic, what do you want to call it? They have a metal handle with a little tab on it that goes into this molded plastic, like detents. They suck because with vibration, no matter how tight you tighten it, they always slip out, fall out, and you end up bending the handle back. So be weary on these MTDs. Make sure you have enough spring pressure underneath. It's like a shoulder bolt with a fiber washer and a spring. Put a little tension on it so it's actually putting tension in, because people will be pushing them on the MTDs and boom, they pop out, go right to 6th gear. You'll blow into your car or blow into your garage door or something. Just when you're adjusting them, make sure the handles are bent correctly and that they stay where they're supposed to be. I've even taken a Dremel and cut a little bit deeper on the groove so that the tab would, stay in, because they wear over time. It's plastic against metal. Metal's going to win, Hey, Nikki, how you doing, brother? Watching your videos. What's it all about now, Nikki? I thought you're a chainsaw guy. Now you're doing motorcycles and you're doing the heavy equipment and all that. You're confusing me. What's going on? Did you ever get that tire done, Nick? I saw you working on it. It looked like that was a heck of a job. Also, I saw the Nikki of old days without this. Handsome devil. I'll tell you that. But anyway, what else? Oh, so on the throwers, what else do I do? No one ever drains their fuel at the end of the year or uses stabilizer. So when they bring it to you and say it's fresh fuel, no, they're lying. Anytime I get a snow thrower, I don't care what the problem is, drain the fuel, clean the tank. I don't care what it is. I don't care if you watched them put fuel in. You don't know what it is. Drain it, clean it, put your fuel in that has the stabilizer, or is fresh. If it's not ethanol, even better, but put fresh fuel in every single time. And that way, because here's the thing, guys, you're working on something, you get it running great. You think you're getting it running great, and all of a sudden it starts crapping on you. Like, what's going on? How do you know what they got in the tank? You don't. So always clean it out. I put some paper towel in there with a hemostat and rub it around, get it all clean, Just get it clean, let it sit out in the sun if you can for a few hours. Just get it clean, put fresh fuel in. Fresh fuel, even better, stable mixed fuel, just fresh, so you know it's good. That way, when you fix it, you tell the guy, look, this is fresh. This is how it's running. When it runs out, if you put something in there that I don't know about or you don't know about, don't call me saying it's my, it's the fuel or it's the engine. So you got to keep track of that, because people will lie to you and say the fuel's 2 days old when it's 3 years old. I had one customer say to me, what do you mean, 5-year-old fuel's no good? And I look at him, I said, seriously? I said, you ever smell 5-year-old fuel? Anyway. Oh, what else? Let me see. Oh, tire pressure on snow throwers. People don't realize, what is it, 1 PSI per 10 degrees when the temperature shifts? Well, here in Connecticut, we get up to 100 plus in the summer, and we get -5, 10 in the winter sometimes. So depending on where you're keeping your snow blower, those tires are all over the place. And it's funny because people say, oh, I'm running my snow thrower and it's pulling to the right, it's pulling to the left. 2 things. Tire pressure should be the same on your snow thrower tires. Make sure the tire's the same. But here's the big thing. Most axles on snow throwers have holes drilled through the end for the hitch pin to go in. You can either put it on the outer pin so the wheel rotates freely. It turns a lot easier that way, but you only have one-wheel drive. You put it in both of them so it goes through the rim and the axle. You got your posi there and it's fine. But people sometimes complain and say, oh, it's hard turning. Look, I'll hook up the one-wheel drive, but just keep in mind, it's one-wheel drive. So don't get, oh, it's not coming out of the ice or whatever. Well, if you want 2-wheel, 4-wheel, there's reasons for it. So you got to let them know. If they drop it off and it's in 2-wheel, just explain to them, hey, is this the way you want it? Especially the newer ones that have the power steering on them. Always have it in the posi with both wheels running, because you can always disconnect each axle. It's perfect. But the older ones that don't have that disconnect, easy steer they call it, tell them, are you making a lot of turns? If you are, disconnect one of the wheels and make it, single wheel. It'll turn perfect. And also ask him which way he turns. You'd be surprised. Some people will go up a driveway, turn left, go up a driveway, turn left, or whatever. Some will go left, right. Makes a difference. If you disconnect the left-hand wheel, it'll turn easier to the left. If you disconnect the right-hand wheel, it'll turn easier to the right. So people don't realize that. Hey, Boneyard, how you doing? Boneyard, that seat worked dynamite. It's been holding now for 2 days, and everything's good, and it's running good. So, but I will keep you in mind for the Briggs parts. Definitely. Actually, I'd love to come up there and see you. So I think, are you in Connecticut, Boneyard? Where are you? I think you're in Connecticut. Either that or somewhere up north. Love to see the place. Anyway, what else about snow throwers? We did the tires, we did pressure, we did that. The Chonda engines. We talked about my favorite spark plug torch. What else on throwers? Yeah, especially like I talked about in the beginning of the video, those that are just joining me now, look for the ice at the bottom of the basket where the auger, where the fan is, because a little chunk of ice hitting that fan is not going to allow it to spin. You're going to melt the belt. Most people say, oh, I saw a whiff of smoke. Yeah, well, now your belt's whiffed and you got a nice big gouge in your belt. Will it work? Absolutely. It'll still work, but it may be like sound crappy and all that stuff. AJP, welcome, my friend. Welcome. So anyway, what else about snow throwers? Let's see. Oh, tubes and tires. I don't know about you guys, but I cannot stand, and I mean I'm being ironic, I can't stand I can't stand putting tubes in tires, and here's why. I like tubes and tires. It saves them. It's all great. But here's the things that I find that are bad about putting tubes and tires. Unless you know what you're doing, unless you have a good changer and all that stuff, the good tire irons and all that, you're going to screw it up. Number one mistake, putting tubes in tires. I don't care what kind of tire. Number one mistake, what caused the leak? People will take a tire, whether it be on anything, I don't care what it is. They'll bust their butt getting it off the rim. They'll stick a tube in there. They'll put the air, and all of a sudden the next morning it's flat. Well, you know what, guys? Is there something that's still sticking in the tire that caused the leak that's still in there, and now it punctured the tube? So when you look for a tube tire and you're doing your repair, find the piece that caused the leak. Now, it could be a nail sticking out of a board. You ran over it and boom, boom, you know about it. But chances are it's a screw or something, little, even the staples I've seen sticking about a 16th or an eighth of an inch into the tire. So even though I use gloves, like the rubber gloves, rub your hand inside the tire. Be careful. Rub your hand inside the whole inside of the tire. Make sure you don't feel that protrusion that caused the tire to leak. Because 90% of the time, no, 190% of the time, it's going to blow up your tube. So do that first. Another thing I do, people say, Oh, can you fix my tire? The tire bead's no good. How do you know the tire bead's no good? Well, because it leaks a few pounds a day. Well, 90% of the time, it's the tire's rotted. I put it in my sink. I have a big utility sink downstairs. I put it in the sink, and you can see the whole sidewall, all the cracks. It's weeping through all the bubbles, little bubbles. So I tell the guy, look, a tube will work, but you're not going to seal up. Oh, I'll just buy a can of that goop. I don't use the goop. I've seen the newer goop that they sell isn't a nightmare like the older stuff. The newer stuff is actually pretty good. I just don't like it. I'd rather put a tube in, or better yet, put another tire on. You can go on Amazon and you get these cheap, imported tires, Kenda and things like that. They're not bad tires, But anyway, find out where the leak is coming from before you put a tube in. Make sure that it's even worth it too. I've had tires with cracks so bad that you could stick your fingers in the cracks. The guy wanted a tube. So I told the guy, come on, there's a big crack in the tire. I put the tube in. He comes back a week later. It looked like Little Rascals with the wing wong, wing wong. Had a big bubble sticking out of the tire with a tube. It was the tube sticking out of the tire. Remember that Little Rascals episode? Wing wong. Yeah, with the tire on that little Model T, whatever they had, and the tire was bubbling. Anyway. So just be careful when you're talking to people about tires, because, you're doing work for someone, they're paying good money and all that stuff. You want a good repair. You want the repair to last, stuff like that. So what's on everybody's mind right now? Long Island. Oh, that's not bad, Boneyard. So you could probably visit Henry and Pate and all those guys. What part of the island, west or east? Probably toward the west, right? Because the east, no one can afford that. That's like Billy Joel country, Anyway, hold on, guys. Let me get a hit of my Hostess cherry pie. I wish they would sponsor me. That'd be great to have Hostess as a sponsor. I love my Hostess pie and my James Faust sponsored cup of coffee. My wife calls it coffee and. Coffee and. You got to have the and. You got to have something with the coffee. Ooh, Montauk. Cool, boy. There's shark fishing. My buddy won that tournament in 1987. Caught the biggest shark. Pretty cool. Anyway, what else? What else on snow throwers? MTD especially, and a lot of them, they have that cover on the back. When you flip a snow thrower up, now, guys, when you're working on snow throwers, the ones that have the fronts that are square, flat, you can flip them up. That's what they're designed to do. The older ones that are round, no, you can't do that. But the ones that are flat, you can do it. Anyway, the ones that aren't flat in front, I take a seat clamp with a 2x4 and I put a 2x4 on it and I lay it up that way. That way you can lay it up and work on it if it's not flat. Anyway, you lay it up flat. There's that panel on the back. East Hampton. Ooh, God bless you, brother. You're doing better than me. The panel on the back, there's usually 4 to 6 3/8 headed or 10 millimeter headed screws. I don't know about you guys out there. Anybody who's worked on these throwers, how many times have you ever found one with the original screws on that cover? I find sheet metal screws, wood screws, screws with dowels in to make up the gap because it's stripped. I mean, I hate those covers. So what I do, anytime I see a parts machine at the dump, I pick it up, I strip it of hardware. But one thing you could do too, some of these older ones, you could actually use Tinnerman fasteners. I don't know if you guys know what Tinnerman fasteners are. They're actually those clips. You see them a lot in dashboards where you're fastening things to plastic. They call them Tinnerman clips. Those clips you just stick on the side, and it creates a thread because it's stamped with a double flat opening that forms, an opposed flat that the threads will merge with. So it's pretty cool. Born and raised. Well, that's good. Yeah, the island's beautiful. Just expensive for me to get there. The ferry's so damn expensive right now. I'm a Terrell fan. Where's my Terrell shirt is in the wash, Nikki. Terrell's. I saw the old saw, Nick. I didn't see the video yet, but I did see the ad for Terrell. Anybody who wants to learn a lot about small engines, Terrell fixes all. Terrell's got a great station. A little bit of comedy there too, but it's a really good station. He's helped me a heck of a lot over the years with different stuff. Terrell's the best. But anyway, he ends his videos. There's your dinner. So I end up buying one of his shirts, and I bought a hoodie and a coffee cup, or whatever. Try to support the channel. I'd love to go to Louisville, the Power Expo, one year and see him because that would be kind of fun. But anyway, Drifty, you talk about spell check. I was using spell check. I always frequent Maddie Olson's chats because I'm one of the moderators along with Mr. Faust there. And when I use spell check a few times, you got to watch a few spell check. James, you could back me up on this. Sometimes a spell check will come out with some nasty stuff that you really don't want to say. So you really got to watch the spell check before you hit the word, send, because that spell check is crazy. But that's another reason to tape your videos and not do it live. If you do it live, you can screw up. And now this new thing with, the children's safe videos and all that stuff, we got to be careful. We really do. All right. What else on snow throwers? I'm trying to think. Oh, the older Sears, I think they're MTDs or even Murray's with plastic chutes, actually metal chutes with a plastic ring on the bottom. If you live in a climate where it's sub-zero or gets really cold, they don't last. They crack. They have carriage bolts going through 2 layers of plastic, and people always over-torque them and crack them. You can get them. They're still available, the parts. And that's one thing I can tell you, too. A guy was on today with a 1970s Echo backpack. At least maybe 74, 75, old. The old Kioritz. I mean, Kioritz, Kioritz. This is the parent company of Echo in Japan. It was actually a Kioritz blower. I went online. They still had some parts for it. It's amazing. It's really amazing. Let's see. Let me see. Where there's your dinner, especially when it's your mother-in-law. And my mother-in-law's a good cook. I could tell you that. I'll get for her. What was that out of? A tiller? Looked like it had a double pulley on it. Usually those are on tillers. Yeah, Nikki, I got caught a few times too. But see, what's cool is usually when you're in a chat, the triple dot on the right, you could always hit edit, delete. Just delete it. That's all. But yeah, you just don't want to get in trouble with YouTube. Now that the YouTube police are going crazy right now, and I don't want to lose my channel. But anyway. Boneyard, it's funny. You talk about engines given to you and all that. I probably have in my basement. My first love was the Kohler K series, the cast iron K series. I started working on International Harvester Cup Cadets, the ones made from 61 to like 81 International Harvester, all Kohler K series. I literally have right now probably 12 or 13 engines, complete engines in my basement, ready for rebuild. For a number of years, I would do rebuilds for people that I knew. I was in the Cup Cadet community, see them at the shows. Even John Deere, they had a lot of K-Series too, except with different oil bases or oil pans, they call them. But I would rebuild, 12, 14, 15 engines a year. And I did that for about 10 or 15 years. Then when my daughter got sick a number of years ago when she was in high school, I stopped. I didn't do small engines for about 3 or 4 years. But I've been back in it now. So this will be my 20th year of working on small engines. So... yeah, I guess who, Nick? I know who. Anyway, I'm trying to figure out what saws I'm going to bring to the Connecticut get-together this year on April 18th. Dan Larrabee in Norwich. Beautiful get-together. We have a great time. Good food, good people, good saws. So I'm hoping to get a couple built, maybe a 262 XP, maybe a 346 XP, and do some racing. So we're going to have some fun. Anybody in the area? Even though you guys, Boneyard and you guys, Norwich isn't that bad for you guys because Norwich is on the east side of Connecticut, so you're not too bad. It's practically straight above you. So Norwich, Connecticut. But anyway, April 18th, go on to Outdoor Power Equipment Forum, OPE Forum. Just type in Connecticut Get Together 2020. See Connecticut GTG, Get Together, and then you'll see it. So we're looking forward to having a great time. Yeah, all of them. I know. I'd like to bring a bunch. Right now, I'm not too busy in the shop at this point. The Poulons I'm working on, I want to get to those maybe tomorrow. It's just cold today. It's a very cold day. I do a lot of my work outside, like in the driveway. I like cold, don't get me wrong, but I do have my shop in the basement. The thing is, not a ton of room in there to work on stuff. There is, but not a lot. So a night like tonight when it's like 20 degrees, yeah, you want to be inside. But I've worked outside in this, though. I've done, brake jobs and everything else outside 10 degrees, Yeah, get me 1,000 subs. I got a giveaway going on, guys. Those that don't know it, that have just joined me or that haven't seen a lot of my videos, once I hit 1,000 subs, I'll be able to use a iPhone to do live vids. That's what I used to do. That's how I started. But YouTube changed it about 6 months ago. So now you need either a Chromebook, which I have here, to do live streams, or 1,000 subs. So if you get 1,000 subscribers, I have a DTI 20K TAC I'm going to give away. I actually gave one to Matty Olson on New Year's Day when I was over his house working on a 257. Just my thanks to him for being the great guy and teaching me and you and everybody else out there a lot about these Husky saws. That was sort of a thank you gift to him. And he used it the other day. He was out with Mason, and I think they used that tack. I saw a tack out there. But it's a great tack. And I'll be honest, do I know how to tune chainsaws and 2 strokes by ear? Yeah, I could do it by ear. I know 4-stroking it, making them fat, this and that. Yeah, I know all that stuff. But you know what? Tack, if it says 12.7, boom, you tack it for 12.7. It's just nice to know what it is, Hey, JD, how you doing? How's the job front going, JD? Hopefully all is well. I know you were out there looking for a little while, buddy. Hopefully all is well. Yeah, the V8 chainsaw drifty, I've seen a couple of those at shows. There's actually a guy local to me with a V6, Buick V6 with a chainsaw, but that's just crazy stuff, especially when they throw a chain. Oh my gosh, that is crazy. But Boneyard, take care. Thanks for stopping, buddy. I'll check out your vids later. Take care. Everybody look at Boneyard Garage's channel. He's got some really cool stuff. His father had a small engine business, and he's got all the stuff now. So he's really gearing up. So definitely visit him. I think I've talked all here's the thing. Someone asked me the other day, the blower that I'm working on now, most blowers have shared chassis, meaning the chassis are used for, say, 2 or 3 different models of thrower, especially MTD. MTD will private label, I think it's 536 is their code. Their part number begins with 31A or something. Anyway, MTD throwers generally will have a base model, which does not have a headlamp, okay? But if you look underneath the dash panel, there's actually best of luck to you, JD. I hope you get it, pal. Under the dash, you could see there was an actual hole for a headlamp socket. And where the front of the machine was, there was actually a sticker covering the face of the headlamp. So I was like, oh, wait a minute. Why did they do this? Well, it's a cheaper model. But here's the caveat with that. To have a headlight or heated grips or any other option like that, you need an alternator with a diode rectifier in line to convert it AC to DC, yada, yada, yada. You need that, okay? People call me sometimes and say, oh, I really want a headlight on my snowblower. So if the wires are coming out and there's a rectified dioded AC line and I can get some AC and DC, yada, yada, great, I'll do it. But if not, you talk to these people and you say, okay, now you got to buy a rotor and a stator and all that stuff. And sometimes you have to buy a whole new flywheel assembly. By the time you're done, it's $200-$300. Is it even worth it? So a lot of people say to me, why don't I just buy a portable LED bar light or something and mount it? And that's a good suggestion too, especially with the newer battery technology. You can get a lithium ion LED light bar and just screw it on, turn it on when you need it, and take it off when you're done or whatever. But anyway, those of you that want to hook up factory lights and grips and stuff like that, I'll give you an example. Troy-Bilt, the older Troy-Bilt, when Gardenway built them, used to have all those options, heated grips and lights and all that stuff. Well, what they would do is they would provide an alternator lead that had a 4-prong plug and all that stuff. And you could actually just go and buy the harness and the lamp and the grips and all that stuff. But here's the problem. All the alternators on the different engines are rated for amperage, okay? You've got unregulated, regulated, higher amp, lower amp, and you got to watch. If you're not charging a battery, you don't need the higher amp alternator. If you're just powering a lamp or a set of hand grips, you got to watch. I put a set of heated hand grips on a Troy-Bilt that a lady had. She wanted the hand grips, but here's the problem. Her alternator didn't put out enough amperage to power the headlamp and the grips efficiently. So what would happen is she'd turn on the lamp, and then she had a toggle switch, factory toggle switch to turn on the grips, but the grips would never really get hot because all the amperage was going right into the lamp, which is a direct short. Really, it's a lamp. So I said to her, I said, do you really need the lamp? And she did like the lamp. And what we ended up doing, which is cheating a little bit, I ended up buying a small LED lamp that fit in her socket that drew next to nothing. And it seemed to work okay. But you got to watch when you use LEDs too, because the resistance is different. There's all kinds of things. When you see people on the road with LED lamps, you'll see the blinkers are blinking at 1,000,000 miles an hour and stuff like that. It all has to do with resistance and all that. So there are ways to do it the right way. So all I'm saying is if you have people that want to put heated grips or headlamps on their throwers, make sure you have an alternator there, number one, and make sure it's putting out the correct voltage and amperage that you need to do what you need to do. So it had hate like heck to go through all that work and then it looks like garbage and works like garbage. So just do your homework. Like anything else, do your homework. Most times if a machine was built and it was optional to have those things, then it has the right part. But check it. I've had people call me up and say they want this stuff and there's not even the wires coming out. There's not even an alternator. So, problem solved. Can't do it. I don't know, James, my coffee's getting a little cold here. I better finish up. Yeah, but JD, you've probably seen, though, LEDs are great. Don't get me wrong. But if you don't have your wiring correct, I don't know. I hear about a lot of problems with LEDs with the resistance when they're not right. Oh, boy. Yeah, plug and play. Definitely. Definitely. Yeah, JD, you know what? Most people fall into different jobs. The one I'm in now, I've had it now 11 years for aerospace manufacturer. I end up having to work third shift for 2 years just to get in the company. And, the pay, I took a heck of a pay cut from where I was, but you know what? It paid off. 11 years I've been there. They sent me to school. I went on my own, but they paid for it. Got a bachelor's degree, a master's degree. I got an MBA as well. And I worked my way up. It took me about 7 years to do it. But hey, how many guys in their 50s are going back to school? But I did. So, and I think, and I tell everybody, you can never have enough education. I don't care what it is, whether it be a college degree, a technical degree. We need guys in the trades. There's no one left in the trades anymore. I don't know. It's sort of like a golden supermarket. I tell one of my kids is a teacher. She finished up her master's degree and now she's teaching. The other one, works at Home Depot, and I'm, hoping maybe she can get a job, making some good money as a technician somewhere doing something because she's great with her hands. So we'll see. But, it is what it is, But yeah, I tell you, most kids not. Oh, we're talking LEDs or you talking LEDs or the kids are bright? Whenever I talk about my kids, and you say, "Oh, mine are super bright." Yeah, LEDs are bright, and my kids are bright too. All right, just a plug for my kids. They are bright. They take after their dad, right? Yeah, okay. And their mom. No, they get the good looks from the mom. They get the brains from me. Anyhow, what else can we talk about tonight? Nikki, you're late. What is it, about 11:15 there, I think? You should be watching the 11 o'clock news, not me. Nikki, you got to watch. A lot of it has to do with resistance and the wiring. There's a lot of videos on that, but just watch, because sometimes not just about voltage, it's about amps, it's about resistance too, about ohms and all that. Someone told me when you pop them in standard sockets, it plays games, because normally that's when you buy LED bulbs and you see they're huge. It's because there's built-in resistors and other things in the bulb to help work. Also, you got to watch. My buddy bought a truck or something, brought it over to my house the other day. He opens up the door. It was like daylight. The kid who owned it before and put all these LEDs in. Bright. It looked like daylight in there. I thought I was getting nuked or something, I like LEDs, don't get me wrong. I do like them, but sometimes they're just too bright. It's like an antiseptic white. Be nice, in the snow outside, you could see, but inside a car or something, too bright. Yeah, JD, you got to find yourself a bigger company, I guess. The one that's willing to pay for the training, even if it's a mom and pop. If they're willing to pay for the training, that's worth money. It really is. $3:15. Holy crap! That late? 3:15. Oh, okay, you're 3:15. I thought you were Nikki at 3:15 a.m. No, you're 3:15 p.m. Yeah, it's 6:15 p.m. here on the East Coast. All right, Nikki, take care. Thanks for stopping, brother. I got to watch your other videos. Keep them up. I like watching them, pal. Especially the motorcycling ones. Those look pretty cool. Have a good sleep. Talk to you tomorrow, buddy. Anyway, what's around you, JD? What type of places are around you? Is there a big market for that type of work around you, or would you have to drive a half hour or so just to find work? That's the thing. I'm fortunate. I mean, God was looking down on me. I work 6 miles from home. My wife works 2 miles from home. So, I mean, we're lucky with that. But the thing is, I've worked mostly close to home, but I grew up always wanting to learn how to fix things. So for my career, I wanted something in manufacturing. And you know what? East Coast, the early 80s, not good for manufacturing, but I stuck it out. I found work. I always had work enough to, get married, buy my house, have my kids and all that stuff. So I can't complain. Never rich or anything, but you know what? Roof on our head, clothes on our back, food in our stomach. We're all right. That's all. Hey, Mix, what's up, brother? How you doing? How are you doing? 35-minute drive. That's not too bad. That's not too bad. Mick, it's you can't really relate, but we were talking about snow throwers before. I know you guys across the pond there don't really work a lot on throwers. But we were talking about when the weather gets cold and the effects of ice and different things on snow throwers. That's what I started out the video. When you could do your next live, Mick, I love that. Using that stream thing we did, that was hilarious. We had a great time. I thought that was so much fun. I was thinking maybe, I don't know if I could download that streaming software with my Chromebook that I have here. I know it works as far as I was able to use it to get on yours to see my picture-in-picture. That was pretty cool, But like I said to you earlier in the day, Mick, find a Flymo, a nice Flymo. I want to see that. I love those things. One of the orange and brown ones. That's the last time I ever saw one. I think it was orange and brown. But those Flymo mowers are killer. I love those things. What else we got? 50s this week. Oh, not here. They're saying tonight teens, tomorrow's high is 30. The thing that sucks is people that didn't clear out their snow. We had snow Saturday starting at 1 p.m. to about midnight. Got about 3 inches, maybe a little more. It was 45 the next day. And if you snow plowed or snow blowed or whatever, it melted and it was great. You get people here that didn't do anything. They've got 3 inches of solid ice. It was in single digits last night. 3 inches of solid ice. These guys, I don't know when that's going to disappear, But Saturday night, 18. What's 1800 UK time? So 12 o'clock my time, I guess. 6 hours, right? I think it's 6 hours difference. But oh, definitely. I get it. Do you put a reminder up, Mick, so I can hit it and do the reminder? Because I definitely like to be part of that. I don't want to encroach on any of your UK buddies over there, but I did have a great time. It was fun. And I think we had some good conversations. Anyone that's ever seen Mick's live stream, there's some really cool conversations. It's nice to compare what we do here in the States with small engines to what they do across the pond and in Europe. It's the same yet different. And it's just funny seeing, older Tecumsehs and Briggs and things. They look similar to what we work on, but they're not 100%. And the ones we saw this morning, Mick, I forget, Mower Man, I think was his name. You guys got to look at this guy, Mower Man's video. He did one this morning with a push mower, and the rear didn't have tire or wheels. It had a roller. So you get the baseball field effect. And that's how, it moves. It's pretty cool. I like that. I definitely like that mower. What was that brand, Mick? It was a weird brand. I hadn't heard of it before, but it was really cool. But it was definitely wild. It looked the side of it looked like an old International Harvester garden tractor when they had the red and black paint schemes, because it had red with like a black racing stripe. It looked like an International Harvester red and black push mower. It was really cool. Mount Field Empress. I don't even know what that means, but it was a cool mower, But but definitely, guys, check out Mick's Mowers. Phenomenal person, great family, great channel, and a lot of good mates over there. They're phenomenal. Just they chime in, they keep it clean. It's a great conversation. It's a lot of learning. You just have a great time. Have a real good time. What else? Let's see. Oh my gosh, I've been on 38 minutes. What else can we talk about? Let's see. Oh, the 2 Poulan chainsaws I was working on. I definitely have vacuum leaks. They'll idle, but then it's erratic and then it'll stall out. You give it stuff. Brand new carburetors. It's all brand new, but there's a lot of, 2 seals and all the different gaskets and manifold blocks. But one thing I noticed today on some of those Poulans, the manifold block on the Poulan chainsaws that goes from the carburetor to the cylinder, there's steel bushings that keep it from compressing enough so that you can not crush it. Okay. They're actually, you want to call them anti-crush bushings or whatever. Here's the problem. plastic does what's called creep. Over time, plastic shrinks so many inches per inch. Okay, it's just the way plastic is made. If it's molded correctly, most of the creep, as it's called, takes place in the first week or so, even hours, depending on if you bake it. I used to do plastic molding, so I know about plastic. Anyway, these manifold blocks have these 4 tubes, if you will, that are anti-crush bushings. Well, over time, what's the plastic going to do? It's going to creep and it's going to shrink. And what happened was it shrunk so that these metal sleeves were sticking proud or sticking out. When they stuck out, they caused a leak. They caused daylight, caused a vacuum leak. The way he tested it was while it was idling, he squirted a little brake clean around it, stalled out the engine. But it was funny because on these plastic manifolds, I don't think I've ever really looked to see if there were the metal sleeves holding them in. And that's what it was. Excuse me. So I have to go look at that. 4-cycle. Do you like 4-cycle trimmers, Mick? I don't, one thing I haven't had the best of luck with the MTD Troy-Bilt variant of those 4-stroke trimmers. I've done the valve adjustments, things like that, but for some reason, I don't know, they sort of, I don't know, not good luck with those. What do you think? The exhaust cam is cooked. Oh, what's it got? Individual cams for them? Yeah, some of those designs are pretty weird. I mean, Steel has their 4-mix, they call it, where you're still using a mix, but it's got, overhead valves and all that stuff. Yeah, I haven't seen too many. It almost seems like it was a fad. A lot of people don't want to mix oil with their gas, but since the onset of all these different companies selling the premix fuel at Home Depot and Lowe's, you see a lot more people running the 2-stroke equipment nowadays because it's just easier for them just to buy the mix, But the 4-stroke ones, I don't know. Like I said, the main thing, like especially with the Steels, once a year you have to do the valve adjustment. Remember to change the oil because some of these take oil. The Steels don't because they're 2-mix, but or 4-mix with the 2-stroke mix. But the ones that have crankcases, how many people even look to see that there's oil in it? So you got to watch those too. But 4-stroke in those little teeny, 20, 30, 40 cc, I don't know. I think 2-stroke is the way you want to go because you want that power band up there so you really have, the torque to do what you need to do. So what else? What else is everybody working on? Is everybody else working on anything? Or what? What else do I have? I have those chainsaws. I got the 136 that seems to be growing legs in my basement that I have to finish. Craig Timmons is going to be on me on that because he suggested using a certain sealant called Optima from Permatex. It's a black, like a silicone-based sealant called Optima. We used to always use Permatex Ultra black, ultra gray, ultra copper, depending on the heat and the fuel resistance. But now Permatex has what's called Optima. It's a black sealant, and he did it on a bunch of clamshell saws and blowers, and it worked out great. So I bought some, and that's what I'm going to use. So shout out to Craig Timmons for the Optima tip. That's a good tip. What else? Anything else going on, guys? Anything else? There was if you go on OPE, there's a guy, OPE Forum, for those that don't know, Outdoor Power Equipment Forum, sponsored by HL Supply. Any of your parts needs, go to HL Supply. You can get some really decent OEM and aftermarket parts for your 2-stroke and 4-stroke engines. They have some great deals. Try them out, HL Supply. And if you want to give some love to our friend Matty Olson, go on his channel and you'll see links to HL Supply with a couple of numbers at the end. It's a code number, so Matty gets a little love when you buy from HL. So we always look to support our friends, and Matty's definitely one of them. Phone's going dead. Drifty, thanks for stopping, buddy. I appreciate it. We'll see you next time. I'll definitely be on again because you know me, I got a big mouth, so I don't mind going on. What else in the world of small engines? Trying to think. You know what I really want, though? Seriously, it sounds kind of stupid. I want an old Gravely with a plow on front, like a walk behind, so I can plow heavy snow. I just like the Graveleys. I don't know what it is. I'm hoping my buddy Ralph, RW3 Dog, if you guys are not familiar, visit his channel, RW3 Dog. He does a lot of Gravely videos. He's really into Gravely. He's about 25 miles from me. But I'd love to get one of those old Gravely. That's why Boneyard, when he was on before, he's got a few Graveleys too. And I'd love to hook up with a Gravely with a little snowplow out front. I don't care about the mower part of it or whatever. Just put a snowplow out front. And it's a walk behind 2-wheel tractor. I like the old Graveleys. And the funny thing is, you can get a Gravely from like the 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s. The attachments today still fit all the years. It doesn't matter what year. Gravely attachments all fit. That's one thing that's cool about Gravely's. So, old flat top Briggs. Massport. Mower. Oh, when you say flat top, just a regular flathead, not overhead valve. I tell you, there's a couple guys on there that have the old Briggs like way back when, like the Maytag engines, the kickover engines, the what are they called? Y's and W's and things like that. Those are pretty cool, especially the ones that powered the old Maytag dishwasher where you have a crank and you foot pedal to start them. That was pretty cool. Here we go with the love. How you doing, my friend James? Hopefully all is well. I'll call you later when I've run out of things to say, which hopefully will be pretty soon. Almost done with the coffee. Love me some good coffee, I tell you that. It's a Quantum? Oh, I loved Quantum. Like I said the other day, best engine Briggs ever made. Quantum is the best. Easy to get parts, easy to fix, the filters, everything. Simple. I love Quantum engines. Never had a bad one, you know. Always love Quantums. Even the Briggs Classics. I like the Classics. The only thing you really got to do with those is diaphragms for those plastic carburetors. But other than that, the Classics are good. Oh, what else? Anything else anyone wants to talk about? Because otherwise I'll head out. I'm at 46 minutes. I think I've talked enough for tonight. But, those of you that just joined us, go back, look at the beginning of the video. We talked about snow blowers. We talked about some problems that I had working on some over the past couple of days. Even today, I was on a service call after work, went to go visit a guy. It wasn't what I thought was the issue. And now it's in my garage and I have to do a carburetor rebuild. But as I said before in the video, it seems like the newer engines, we call them Chandas, Chinese Hondas, LCT, Lawson, all the different ones that they have now. It seems like they put so much sheet metal on them, like they don't want you to work on them. Literally, I'll work on one of these engines. It takes you 10 minutes just to take off all the screws and hoses and wires just to get to one of these carburetors. It's ridiculous. You have to sort of make yourself a little roadmap. It's like playing mousetrap. You take off the cover. Oh, where's everything go? Just to get to the carburetor. Whatever happened to you take off a cover and there it is. Not anymore. They don't want you to work on these things at all. This one I had today, just a screw to drain the carburetor. Nope, there was a shield in the way. I had to take off 2 or 3 screws just to bend the shield out so I could drain some of the old crappy fuel out, Unbelievable. They don't make them like they used to. They make them so that you have to take them to a dealer to work on them, So anyway, it'll keep us busy. All right, guys, if no one has anything else, I'm going to finish up my coffee, say cheers, and say goodbye, or not goodbye, good night to everyone. Hopefully everyone has a great night. Be safe, whatever you're doing. And we will catch you on here pretty soon. Like I said, like, subscribe, get me up to 1,000 subscribers, tell your friends, and we'll have that 1,000 subscriber giveaway for that $100 DTI tachometer. I want to give it away, but I need those 1,000 subs so I can do live streams with a phone wherever I want. So it'll only be good for everybody if I get those 1,000 subs. So help me out, guys and girls. Thanks a lot, guys. We'll talk to you soon. Thanks to everyone for stopping by. James, be talking to you later. All right, guys. God bless you all. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.